Okay, hello everyone. This is Brooklyn, and I wanted to bring you a kind of quick how-to video. On Instagram a while back, I posted this page of notes, and I was like, these are the notes that I've done for my recent webinar. And I think I posted those. I think I even showed a picture of these ones. And a couple people messaged me asking me how do you take notes so beautifully and so perfectly? And yeah, and my answer was I don't. This isn't how I took the notes for the course. Like, this is from a webinar, and this isn't how I took the notes. My actual notes look like a serial killer wrote them, and they're in this book. So that's my first secret to making pretty notes. So really, this is unleashing your creative magic. This is what my notes look like. This is what I turn them into. Now there's two benefits to this. A, you can just scribble down what you need to scribble down. And B, you kind of get to go over and go, what did I mean there? And stop and think about it. Or go, wait, I don't need to write that down. Why did I write that down at the moment? It felt important, but it's not important. I suffer from either writing nothing down or writing every word down, and it's taken me a long time to write things. So now I just write the things that kind of really stick with me. It's easy for things like this where it is a webinar, and it's for my own benefit, and I'm not necessarily going to be tested on any of this. So what I thought I would do is I have these notes from yesterday's webinar by Andrea, and I have yet to put them into my Bujo. So I thought I would do that. Now I have this page here, but I really like my notes to take up a double spread if they need to. Even if it only takes one page, that's fine. I'd rather have the space for a double spread than having them split over here. It's just how I am. So, what do you need? Well, really all you need is a pen. I'm going to be using the Faber-Castell extra small. And you need your notes. And if you want, you can have colors, whatever. You could use watercolors if you wanted to. That's my very messy set of watercolors. Okay, that's my very messy set of watercolors. You could also use the ink pens blocks, which are probably my favorite watercolor method. You could use Tri-Plus fine liners if you wanted some color. I really like these Martha Stewart dye ink markers. They're quite my favorite. And you could also use highlighters or like the zebra mild liners. I've used those. I used those on this one. That's all using the zebra mild liners, except for this brown here is a Martha Stewart. But because of the way the Pit Artist pen is, I'm not going to worry too much about that because I will probably be I'll probably be doing that much later, because I like to I find that you need to let this dry for quite a long time, like a lot longer than you think. Like, you feel like to the touch it's dry, but if you try to put any marker over it, here's an example. See, so this dried and I could put the marker over it right away. Here you can see that there's a bit of black in the yellow. I tried to do it right away, and the same there. It just bleeds a little bit if you don't wait. So I like to wait at least an hour. So that's not so much the case if you have a really porous paper, because this is really smooth, like really almost like it's coated in wax, kind of smooth. I like to wait quite a bit. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to get started. So I used the extra small, and I use the medium and the fine. I'm probably only going to use the fine for this, but those are the 3 sizes that I use in my bullet journal. I'll probably use the fine and just the extra small for this one. The medium's a bit too thick. So first thing you want to do is start with these things here. And what I like to do is I like to take my pen, and whichever pen you want. I don't like using my really expensive, I'm cheap, I don't like using my really nice pens in it right away. So I'm just going to take the same pen I wrote these notes with, which is my Papermate Inkjoy, and go through and underline the words that you want to kind of emphasize. It kind of makes you think about what you want to do. So I've gone through and I've underlined the things I kind of want to emphasize. Like I said, some of these won't be emphasized. Some of them, as I'm writing them, they get emphasized in different ways. Some things will be emphasized that I haven't emphasized because as I'm writing it, I kind of think about what I want to stand out. But this is a good step. The other thing I also did was kind of X out some notes here that I don't necessarily need to put in here in this way. So I've done that. And now it's really just ready to start transferring things over. One thing I also need to do is, because I like to put her name, and I can never remember how to spell her name, so I'm just going to grab that off one of the other pages. Oops. I flipped this back one won't get in the way, but this guy, because he's a bit closer to the page, he tends to get in the way. So I keep him up and out of the way. And there we go. Oh, that one. Yeah. So, SCHOEDDER. So, that's that. Here's our page. And with that, I'm going to put this guy away. And, yeah. The other things that you personally might want during this process, I don't have them near me. You might want a ruler. This is just one I got from like a $2 shop, and I like it because it's a nice size. I also have, this is the one I use most of the time when I'm doing my bullet journal, because I like one that can fit the full length of the page and can even go diagonally. Yeah. So you might need a ruler. You might want a pencil if you want to pencil things out. I don't care. I go with mistakes. It's not perfect. This is mostly, I like to double write things so I remember them more. Also, this is just a reference for me. It's not going in a museum or anything. So that's everything. That's my my notes that I did. I hope that that kind of helped a little bit. They're not perfect. I run out of space. The other thing you might have noticed is especially in this situation, because these are like little clips of like little pearls of wisdom that I heard during the thing, and they're not necessarily linear. And if they were linear, then I would totally do them linear. But for example, this came after this, but I knew I wanted more space for that one, and that wouldn't take up much space, so I just put it up there. Move things around. Like this was the last thing last note I wrote. This was the second to last. This was the third to last. You know, move them around, and if you can. If not, you know, you might want to plan out. Some people like draw little squares to say like this is how much space each quote can take up. You could do that if that was something that was a important for you to do. The other thing that I would say is don't judge it now. Like, you've just finished it. For these to really look awesome, in my opinion, they need some color. When it's just black and white, it looks a bit boring. Also, you might have noticed I can't spell focus clearly. I was too focused on other things, which is ironic. I just put that's where the U is. It goes there. Doesn't really bother me too much. Yeah, it is what it is. I can either get frustrated at it, but in the long run, there's nothing I can do. This is, you know, the pages are numbered. That's one of the things I like about the Luckstrom is the pages are numbered. So I have to let go. I just have to accept that I made a mistake. Despite many protests otherwise, I am not perfect, and that's just how it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit for a while, and I will come back and we will after I've done a few things, I'm going to go do the dishes, do a couple other things, let this really kind of dry, and then we'll color. Okay, so I'm back, and it's time to color. Hopefully this is dry enough. You never really can tell with these pens, in my opinion. And I know there are other pens that people have said dry fine, but I have tried the ink joys. Definitely don't. They bleed no matter what. The Staedtler pigment liners also I found I had issues with. The Stabilo O pen, which is kind of, I think this one was the best, but it bleeds through a bit, plus mine's dying. I had issues with that one. And I've had issues, yeah, so those are the pens I've tried, but those are the pens I've had. I didn't want to go out and buy any special ones yet. I'm not buying a whole new setup just for these. Buying things that I already knew that I wanted, like the Zebra mild liners, and I've wanted them for a while now. That's different. So that's what I'm going to use to color this in. It's the Zebra mild liners. I don't have the yellow pack yet. I only have these three, so there's a fourth yellow pack. The blue, pink, and yellow are standard, and you can get them at any time. The orange pack was like a 2006. Okay, so that's my finished page. As I said, I think it looks so much better once you've got color on it. A few things, I didn't wait long enough, so there's quite a bit of smearing and smudging. It's not a huge deal. I can handle it. I knew. I find that's particularly the yellow and the orange and this red love to smear the most. The rest can be kind of like, yeah, you could be coloring over the same line and they don't really smear. But this is kind of what it looks like. I really like what I did here with the creating a tree trunk with branches. I'm really happy with it. You know, like I said, it's not a huge deal that it doesn't look super perfect. I just realized there's one thing. I have this space down here, and I know exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, so I can't spell December. This is the second time I've had this issue. I think it's mostly because I'm on camera and I overthink. But I just put December. I don't know. I'll probably put a sticker over there or something. Whatever. It's life. It's December 21st. I'll be able to tell that it's December 21st. And that it's 2016. So, just thought I'd use that space to kind of fill it up. And so yeah, that's that. The last thing to do for these notes is to go here, grab my pen, and that was page 50. And I've got one last class, and I think I'll be able to fit it in there. Shouldn't have taken up so much space, but oh well. The one last thing I do, and because my markers smear, I tend to use the bottom here for cleaning off markers. But the last thing I do is I put an X through those so that I know that those notes have been transferred. Otherwise, knowing me, I would end up with duplicates in the notebook because that's how I am. So I hope that this was a useful video. Last thing to do is just put my bookmark back where he belongs and close her up. I hope that was useful to you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Also, tell your friends that this was an amazing video. And feel free to subscribe to see more bullet journaling, crafty goodness. And if you would like to either be one of the people whose name's about to show up, or see more or better quality videos from me in the future, feel free to follow the link over to Patreon. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.